Today on Musician's Edition, we're going to look at page 7 from your Essential Elements book in the Mallet section. And we've been talking a lot about different stickings in our past few videos and thinking about different sticking choices we can make based on the material on the page and how we can make that work more effectively, and some different options we have and some different rules we can apply in order to make those things work. So today we're going to add another tool to that toolbox, which is left-hand lead. Okay, so this is going to be on number 23 from page 7. And you see there, you have a little note that says left-hand lead. It's a pattern that begins with the left hand and keeps the left hand on the strong beats, okay? Remember, the strong beats in music, when we have 4 beats in a measure, are beat 1 and beat 3, right? So we're going to keep our left hand on beat 1 and beat 3. Now, like we talked about in a previous video, that's not always the best choice throughout a whole piece of music, right? It's usually the best choice for like a small passage of music, but not for large chunks of music. So first we're going to learn number 23 using strictly left-hand lead. Left hand stays on the strong beats. And then we're going to go back and talk about some different, maybe some adjustments we could make to make things work just a little bit better. Okay? So like we need to, anytime we play a new piece of music, we got to go through and think about the rhythm, which I think looks fine. We've got quarter notes, we've got whole notes. Remember, whole notes last 4 beats, right? Then we've got some more quarter notes. We have a half note, which lasts 2 beats. We've got some more quarter notes, another half note. No big deal, okay? Now let's think about notes. So we see we have some of those new Fs going on. We start on B flat, right? Remember, when you play a new piece, you always need to check your key signature first so you know what notes are sharp and flat, right? So in our key signature, we have B flat, E flat, right? So we start on a B flat, B flat, D, C, and then you see in measure 3, we start on an E, but compared to our key signature, that's an E flat, right? So we have E flat, D, C, E flat, D, right? Measure 5, we have D to F, right? That top line F that we worked on a while back, D, F, back to the E flat, D, C, back to the F, and we're gonna walk it all the way down. This is the last 2 measures, F, E flat, D, C, B flat, B flat. Okay, so now that we've kind of reviewed all the notes here, let's say them all the way through in time. Okay, so here's our tempo. And 1, 2, ready, go. B flat, D, C, E flat, D, C, E flat, D, F, E flat, D, C, F, E flat, D, C, B flat, B flat. Okay, great. So now let's go back and let's use the written sticking, and then we'll come back later and see if there's anything we can make feel a little bit less awkward. Okay, here we go. From the beginning, left hand lead. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so that's left-hand lead like it's written in the book. So the first spot that kind of jumps out at me a little bit as awkward is the second measure from the end, when we're starting with our left hand on the highest note. Remember, we talked about that sticking rule where we typically want to put our right hand on the highest note because our right hand is already on the higher end of the keyboard, right? So starting with the left hand is a little bit weird, but that allows us to end with our left hand on the lowest note. Remember, we talked about in that same conversation about stickings that we want our left hand to be on the lowest note, right? So this accomplishes one of those 2 goals. We're probably not going to be able to have it both ways. So the reason I would personally want to change this is once we get to the bottom of that scale, the piece is over anyway. So it doesn't really matter what hand I land on at the very end as long as I can get to it, right? Because I don't have to go to anything after that. So if I were to switch the sticking around, start on my right hand and play right, left, my right hand has to reach over has to reach beyond my left hand, right? Lower than my left hand to get the very last note. But it's only the very last note, and I don't have to do anything after that. So I'm going to prefer to have the awkward positioning be at the very end when I don't have to go on to something else, as opposed to the beginning of this passage when I do have to keep going. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's try those last two measures, but let's play the opposite sticking. So starting on the right hand and alternate to the end. Okay, 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, I find that to be way more comfortable. Now, I have a half note before that passage. So during that half note, I can get my right hand up to the F. So I don't see any reason why we can't go ahead and change that. So I'm going to take my pencil and write this in. And it's important that whenever you make a sticking decision that you go ahead and write it in. Otherwise, you're probably going to forget before next time. And then you're going to have to go through this whole same thought process of which hand's going to work best where and all that kind of stuff. It's better to just think through it one time, write it down, and then next time I get here, I will already know what sticking to use because I did that thinking, last time I played this, and now I remember what I did. Okay, so let's keep that one. We've written it in. If we look at let's go from the beginning down, kind of think through each of these. So left, right, left, right, left. That one feels pretty natural to me. Here we have kind of a tricky one in measure 3 because we start on the left hand, so our left hand's on the highest note, right? Left, right, left, right, left. That one feels pretty okay to me. Maybe a little bit awkward. So there is one option we have where we could change it. Instead of going left, right, left for measure 3 and 4, we could employ our double sticking from a previous page, right? Remember, we have that tool in our toolbox, and we could play right, left, right, left. And I think that's going to be quite a bit more comfortable. So let's try it both ways and see which one we like better. So here's the written sticking. And here's with that double left. You notice using that double left, my right hand doesn't even have to move, which is probably going to make this a lot more accurate. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use that sticking. Right, left, right, and then we'll end on left. Okay, then going on from there, D, F, E flat, D, C. That feels pretty good to me. And then we have the last two measures that we already changed. So let's play this all the way through. So you notice we're using left hand lead in the first two. We're using double sticking for measure 3. We're using left hand lead again. And then the last two measures, we're using right hand lead, right? So like we've been talking about, it's always a combination of different things, right? Usually to find the best solution of a sticking for a piece, it's going to be using several different tools, right? And that's what we have going on here, right? We have left hand lead, right hand lead, and double sticking. We're using 3 of those options just to make this short piece work really well for us. Okay, so let's try it with all those changes from the beginning. And 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so you can apply those rules to this sticking, but you can also think about anytime you get a piece, I need to find what sticking works best for each chunk of this music to make it work best for me and what's comfortable for me and how I'm going to play it the best. Okay, so keep that stuff in mind. Have fun practicing this, and I'll see you next time.